Is songwriting a viable career choice in 2019 and moving forward? We're going to answer that question in today's episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the Steve Freeman Podcast, the real, raw truth about the pursuit of success in music, business, and life. Here's your host, hit songwriter, multi-platinum selling producer, and serial entrepreneur, Steve Freeman.
Hey guys, I'm Steve Freeman. Welcome back to the Steve Freeman Podcast. It is so good to have you here, but while you're here, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Give us 5 stars, especially on Apple Podcast. We're going to start featuring reviews that you guys leave on the podcast. So if you want your review to be featured and read right here on the podcast, all you have to do is leave one. And follow me on social media at The Steve Freeman on all social media platforms. If you do, shoot me a DM. Let me know that you followed me so that I can follow you back. And of utmost importance, if you have not registered for the Artist Development Masterclass coming up November 29th, you need to do it immediately, like right now. Go do it. Open up a browser. Go to thestevefreeman.com and click to register. It is absolutely totally free. My 25 years of music business experience is packed into this 8-hour online masterclass, online course that you're going to be able to take to help you find success in your music career. Now, notice I said success and not fame. Yes, I don't care whether you're famous. I care a lot whether you're successful. And I promise if you take this online course, it's going to put you on the right track. It's the Artist Development Masterclass. It's free. You can register for it now at thestevefreeman.com. All right. On to today's topic. I get this question so much, whether in person or through social media DMs or emails. Steve, how realistic is it for somebody to make songwriting their career, make it their profession, what they do? And my answer to that question was a lot different 5 years ago than my answer is today. And I kind of want to walk through these steps. Those of you songwriters out there that are listening or watching, yes, we are back on YouTube. The video versions are back. Welcome back to you guys. I want to walk through some of the steps and through some of my thinking of why I'm going to give you the answers that I'm going to give. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that the answer to that question was always unequivocally, absolutely. I mean, there is nothing that says that a songwriter can't just be a songwriter and be successful, make a nice living, provide for your family. Times have changed, and there's no sign of the times going back to where they were. It's only getting worse and worse. So my answer to that question today is, unfortunately, not really. And that's hard for me to say as somebody who has made a good living as a songwriter. It actually really hurts me to have to say that, in all honesty. But let's walk through how we've gotten here and why exactly it's that way. You know, there was a meeting of the minds in Nashville, and there was an understanding. You had artists on one hand, and you had songwriters on the other. The songwriters wrote the songs, the artists sang the songs, and everybody was happy. It was a revenue merry-go-round that made sense for a lot of years. And it worked, and everybody was happy. Then people stopped, year by year, people buy less and less music. Well, that's the only way that record labels make money, is when you buy the music or when radio plays those songs on the radio and they get those royalties. As the money started going away, the first thing that record labels stopped and looked at and said, well, if our artists, if we had them signed to publishing deals and we owned some of their songwriting share, some of their publishing share, we're going to make more money. That's when these 360 deals that you always hear about come about. And if you don't know, what a 360 deal is basically when a record label signs an artist, they get a piece of everything. They get a piece of that artist merchandise sales. They get a piece of the artist publishing and songwriter royalties. They get a piece of their touring. Basically, 360 degrees means they are taking a piece of everything that surrounds that artist, endorsements, sponsorships, record sales. They're getting a piece of everything that bears that artist's name. Well, in order for that revenue model to continue and actually make sense, they started having their writers, whom they now own publishing and songwriting royalties and percentages of, they started having them write more of their own songs, which in my opinion is never really a good thing. Trust me, there are some artists out there that are really great songwriters. That may be like 10%. The rest of them are in the room when real songwriters are doing the work. Nevertheless, now you can understand what's going on from the record label's perspective, right? They see their revenue and the money that they're making going down, 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 down. So they take a piece of the artist publishing. They take a piece of the artist touring. They take a piece of the artist merchandising. That helps fill that void of the money they've lost because record sales are and have been in steep decline for a very long time. So that's kind of the story there. But going back to what I was saying a minute ago, there used to be two sides of that coin. Writers wrote the songs, artists performed the songs. A good example of this is Elton John and Bernie Taupin. Bernie was never an artist. Bernie wrote the songs. Elton sang the songs. And the two have made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And it's a system that used to be employed everywhere. And it's not so much that way anymore. Matter of fact, it's hardly that way anymore at all. So when you come to me and you ask me, hey, is songwriting a viable career path? I have to say no. If you are just a songwriter, and I'm not saying that belittling, I'm just saying if you're not an artist, you're just a songwriter and you want to make a living and have a career as just a songwriter, you just want to write the songs. Your chance of having a successful career, a meaningful career that provides for you and your family is less than 0.0001%. Because you are fighting the current. That is not the way the music business stream runs anymore. So you're fighting up current. It's just not possible. The number of cuts that songwriters are getting today that don't have an artist involved with them are very few and far between. What's going on in Nashville now is these artists are creating camps. They're creating songwriting camps and artist camps, and they all write their own material and they all only write with each other. So we used to have this big merry-go-round that everybody got on. Now everybody is building and having their own little merry-go-rounds. Getting on one of those merry-go-rounds coming to town, very difficult. Becoming a part of one of those inner circles is very difficult. I'm not going to say that it's impossible, but I am going to say that it is unlikely as just a songwriter. So let me tell you how you can flip the script. Let me tell you how you can make it, and let me tell you how songwriting can be a real profession and a real career choice for you. You're going to have to step outside your comfort zone and get outside of what you would call yourself as just wanting to be a songwriter. You need to be the vehicle for your songs, or you need to partner up with someone who can be a vehicle for your songs, just like Bernie and Elton. You may not feel comfortable stepping up on stage. You may not feel comfortable with the lights on you. You may not feel comfortable with that attention, and you feel so much more secure in the background doing what you feel like you've been given the talent to do, which is write the songs. You've been given that gift. In order for that gift to take you where you want to go and for it to be a career choice for you, where you can make a living, because look, I'm not talking about personal satisfaction here. I'm talking about being able to pay your mortgage, pay your car payment, pay your electric bill, pay the water bill. That's really what we're talking about. In order to do that, you have either got to be the vehicle for your songs And that means being a singer-songwriter. That means being an artist. That means writing songs that you plan to deliver to the public. Or you need to not try to fit in one of these circles that's already existing and that is already in place. You need to start your own circle. If you just want to be a songwriter, then you need to go out and find other artists that you can make a circle with so that they can be the vehicle for your songs. It kills me to have to say it and to have to admit it, but just moving to Los Angeles or moving to Nashville with the thought and the idea of being a songwriter and getting a publishing deal, and that is going to work for less than, like I said, 0.0001% of people. And 9 times out of 10, when you do see that working, it's somebody that has already had an established relationship with somebody who can basically walk them into the cool kids table and sit them down and anoint them. And then they have success. Even what you're seeing now, more of who was considered to be just a songwriter here in Nashville, they're coming out as artists now. 80% of the artists in country music right now were just songwriters signed to publishing deals 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Again, publishing companies, just like record labels, have seen, oh my God, we're not making the kind of money that we used to make. So now we need to turn our songwriters into artists. So you see what's going on here? This is what you're fighting against. Record labels are turning their artists into songwriters, and publishing companies are turning their songwriters into artists. It's very tough for somebody who just wants to write songs to fit into that narrative in a way that spells success. So here's, again, I want to go over this again. Find vehicles for your songs. And when I say that, I don't mean Chris Young is not your vehicle. Tim McGraw is not your vehicle. Taylor Swift is not your vehicle. Miley Cyrus is not your vehicle. BB Rexa is not your vehicle. If you're sitting in your small hometown or wherever it is that you're from and you're listening or watching this, I'm talking about the people that are currently at your arm's length, the people that you do have access to. Forget the pie in the sky of I'm going to write a song for Keith Urban. Forget that. The likelihood of that happening is 0 to none, and none just left town. Find what is at your arm's length to start building your circle. If you just want to write songs, then you need to find a vehicle for your songs to get them where they want to go. You've either got to find that person or those people, or you've got to become the vehicle. You've got to step outside of your comfort zone and go, okay, well, I'm going to be the vehicle for my songs. I'm going to, instead of just being a songwriter, I'm going to be an artist as well. One of those two paths is what you're going to have to do. Just writing songs is not going to take you anywhere. It's not going to lead to somewhere successful for you. I think the sooner that you understand that, the sooner that you get it into your head and through your mind, that is not really a possibility. That happens for a fraction of people in today's modern music business climate. And to think that you're going to be the one out of 100 million, I just don't think that the numbers are on your side. I know the numbers aren't on your side, as a matter of fact. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning or winning the lottery than you do of being a songwriter and making it in the music business. Especially when you are not the vehicle or you don't have a vehicle for your songs. So you can either take what I'm saying, understand it, and move forward and put it into action with finding vehicles for your song, creating small circles, creating artists where you can have that Elton John, Bernie relationship where you write the songs, they sing the songs, and it's a great marriage and a great partnership where both parties are doing what they're really good at and then moving that product forward. You've either got to do that or start buying lottery tickets. Or if you want to be struck by lightning, standing outside when it storms. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to crush your dreams, but I am being 100% realistic with you. It kills me every time I see people just trying to swim against the grain and swim upstream against the current. To think that you're going to be the one that is different, to think that you're going to be the one that succeeds when the numbers are overwhelmingly against you is foolhardy. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have hope. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have dreams. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't aspire for those things to happen. But what I'm telling you is to put yourself in a position where those things can possibly happen for you. You have to start right now. You have to start with the understanding of the likelihood of that happening is very slim. Very, very, very slim. And there's already so many people on that road and in that process so much further ahead of you. Start doing what you can do right now to put the numbers in your favor. And by that, I mean creating circles of your own. If you're a songwriter, go out and spend some time going out and looking at local bands that are playing at local venues around your area. Go up and this is something people don't want to do anymore. People don't want, it's so easy through social media to DM or like or comment, and we've completely lost that physical connection with other people. And I don't know if we're scared. I don't know if we've lived in this social media utopia so long that we don't know how to interact with people in person, but we're going to have to figure it out. Go find those local bands, those local artists, hook up with them, say, look, I'm a songwriter. I don't know if I'm any good or not, but I know that I'm not an artist and you're a great artist. Let's get together and see if some of my songs fit you, or let's get together and write something together. Let's create a circle. Let's create many circles. Maybe you've got 4 or 5 circles out there. The more circles you have, the more chance of success that you have. It's almost like a horse race. I tell people all the time, there's one way to guarantee yourself that you win every time you bet on a horse race. And that is if you bet on every horse in the race. That's the only way to win. So find you different horses and bet on every single one of them. Sooner or later, the odds are just in your favor that the more circles you have out there, the more you have going, the more activity you have, the more circles, the more opportunities you have for those songs and those vehicles to actually go somewhere and mean something. When that starts happening, that's when you can start considering songwriting in the modern era a viable career choice and professional path that can lead to you providing for yourself and your family. So is songwriting in 2019 and beyond a good career choice? Yes and no. No, if you're just going to try to do what everybody else is doing. It's not. The publishing models and the record label models are not set up for you to succeed that way. But if you're willing to make connections, if you're willing to reach out to people that you do have access to and start creating small circles for yourself, small circles of success. There is strength in numbers. The more of you there are, the better chance you have to succeed. So go out, get off of social media, go out and shake hands with people, get to know people, get to know artists in your local community, get to know other songwriters that are on the same path and that want the same things you do. Form partnerships, work together. And I know that's a foreign concept because the music business is all about me, 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 me. There's very little we in this business, but I promise you to be successful moving forward in the future of the music business, you're going to have to be a we person and not a me person. I know you want to be successful with your songs. I know you want to write great songs. What I'm telling you is to start now creating something at a smaller level. Have some realistic expectations for yourself. And for God's sakes, start forming and making circles with people that are within your reach. right now. Guys, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast. Don't forget to follow me on social media at the Steve Freeman, and don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to give the video a like and leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, register for the Artist Development Masterclass, November 29th, 8-part online video course about how to find success as a songwriter, artist, producer, engineer, and music industry professional. You're really going to get a lot of value out of it. You can register for free at thestevefreeman.com. Guys, until next time, keep being creative, keep pressing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. See you in the next one.
Thanks for joining us for the Steve Freeman Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow Steve on social media at the Steve Freeman.